Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest, respected Director General of BIISS, distinguished speaker, panelists, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies, I warmly welcome you all to today's seminar titled Halal Ecosystem in the ASEAN Region, Opportunities for Bangladesh. Distinguished participants, the program will commence with a welcome address by today's session chair, Major General ASM Ridwanur Rahman, AWC, AFWC PSG, Director General BISS. This will be followed by a keynote presentation by Dr. Mahfouz Kabir, Research Director, BISS, on halal ecosystem in the ASEAN region, opportunities and way forward. Thereafter, we will have a panel discussion featuring two distinguished experts, MD Akhtar Hussain, Livestock Expert and Deputy Director, Halal Certification Department, Islamic Foundation, Bangladesh, and SM Abu Said, Deputy Director, Halal Certification, Bangladesh Standards and Testing Institution, BSTI. Following the panel discussion, we will have the privilege of listening to the speech of our chief guest, Mr. Khondokar Abdul Muqtadir, MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Commerce, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. The floor will be open for open discussion and intervention from the participants. Thereafter, the session chair will deliver the concluding remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now request the session chair, Major General ASM Ridwanur Rahman, Director General BIS, to kindly commence the program. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Khondokar Abdul Muqtadir, MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Commerce, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, distinguished keynote speaker and panelists, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. It's my great honor and pleasure to warmly welcome you all to today's seminar on halal ecosystem in the ASEAN region, opportunities for Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, the global halal economy and ecosystem have undergone a remarkable transformation over the past 2 decades. What was traditionally associated primarily with food and religious compliance has now developed into a much broader economic ecosystem. A halal ecosystem should be understood as an integrated system of production, certification, regulation, supply chains, finance, research, and marketing. This transformation has significant implications for countries like Bangladesh. The ASEAN region provides an especially valuable reference point where countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei has emerged as one of the most dynamic centers of global halal economy. At the same time, countries such as Thailand are developing specialized capabilities in halal science, testing, and Muslim-friendly tourism. In this context, ASEAN offers Bangladesh not merely a market, but potentially a model, partner, and gateway for developing a competitive national halal ecosystem. Distinguished guests, the concept note has clearly delineated the diverse potential of Bangladesh in embracing the halal ecosystem. However, the significance of this trend goes beyond sheer market size. The halal ecosystem is increasingly expanding to broader domains of quality control, safety, traceability, ethical production, and consumer confidence. This means that investment in halal infrastructure can simultaneously contribute to industrial upgrading, export diversification, and the development of higher quality production systems. For Bangladesh, therefore, halal should not be viewed narrowly as another category of export products. Rather, we should consider how halal can become an instrument of economic diversification and regional integration. Learned audience, Malaysia is perhaps one of the most relevant examples and role models for Bangladesh. It has developed halal as an integrated national economic strategy rather than treating it merely as a certification mechanism. Its ecosystem connects standards and accreditation, laboratory testing, traceability, logistics, skills development, Islamic finance, digital technology, and international marketing. A successful halal ecosystem cannot be created simply by issuing certificates. It requires an entire chain of trust, from the source of raw materials to production, processing, transportation, storage, certification, and ultimately the consumer acceptability or confidence. In other words, halal integrity must be maintained throughout the value chain. This is where technology can make a particularly important contribution. Digital certification, digital traceability, advanced laboratory testing, data system, and potentially blockchain-based supply chain solutions can enhance transparency and consumer confidence while reducing transaction costs. For Bangladesh, this presents an opportunity to combine our existing manufacturing capabilities with emerging technologies and build a more sophisticated halal production and export system. Esteemed participants, during the recent official visit of the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh to Malaysia, both countries identified the halal industry as an area of trade and investment cooperation. Importantly, the two sides also recorded an exchange of notes on cooperation in the field of halal ecosystem, including cooperation in certification, regulatory development, professional training, research, innovation, and institutional strengthening. Our government has to play an important role in establishing standards, institutions, and enabling infrastructure to optimize benefits out of this agreement. The industry must invest, innovate, and meet the international standard. The academia and research institutions must generate evidence-based knowledge and technical expertise, and the financial institutions must develop appropriate financing mechanism for halal-oriented enterprises. Against this backdrop, BIS has organized this seminar to provide a platform for all relevant stakeholders to share their insights and assist us in formulating pragmatic policy recommendations to that end. I am particularly pleased that today's program brings together representatives from government institutions, investors, entrepreneurs, certification authorities, researchers, and policy experts. Their perspectives will help us examine the issue from regulatory, economic, scientific, and strategic dimensions. Let us make the best use of this opportunity to explore how Bangladesh can transform the growing global halal economy into an opportunity for export diversification, industrial upgradation, technology innovation, employment generation, and deeper regional economic integration. Before concluding, let me extend my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, the distinguished keynote speaker and panelists, and all participants for being with us today. With these words, I once again warmly welcome you all to the seminar and wish the seminar every success. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chief Guest, ladies and gentlemen, let us start the proceedings. It's my honor and privilege to first welcome Dr. Mahfuz Kobir, the keynote speaker. Dr. Kobir, the floor is yours.
Honorable Chief Guest, respected Director General of the ISS, my fellow panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you. So, today I'll be making the presentation on halal ecosystem in the ASEAN region, opportunities for Bangladesh. So, basically, the issue of the ecosystem and integration with the ASEAN economy has long been discussed, but the particular topic on the halal ecosystem and integration in this regard is has started with the Honorable Prime Minister's visit to Malaysia. And if we see the joint statement, then there are number of places in which the halal industry and halal ecosystem has been clearly mentioned. So, and in the halal ecosystem, so it encompasses a lot of things, starting from investment to the product development and also the certification standard and definitely on the regulatory framework. So everything is included, and also the marketing, branding, etc. So all this included, and these are clearly articulated in the joint statement. So this actually indicates our opportunity. So we are a Muslim country, and in fact, there is a strong gateway in the ASEAN, so which is Malaysia. So Malaysia has an integrated system of the halal economy and halal industry. So if we see the global halal economy, so in 2025, the size was around 2.6 to 3.2 trillion US dollars, and it's going very fast. So by the year 2035, so the size would be 7 to 11 trillion US dollars. And if we see the Asia Pacific economy, so it hosts about 60% of the total halal products. So and it also has a huge population, like 680 plus million people in the ASEAN market. So it gives as a source, the gateway, the products, and also it's a big market. So that is a big opportunity for Bangladesh. So now if we see the, in fact, ASEAN as an emerging strategic global halal hub. So as I already mentioned, Malaysia is a gateway, and then it has a strong system of from the ministry to the businesses. So everyone is included in the whole ASEAN halal hub. So Malaysia has a governance, a very strong governance system, including the standard and traceability, and also it has a standard and global marketing. So, and if we see the Indonesia, it's a big population, and then they host halal products, and there's a huge acceptance of the halal products among the population of Indonesia. And if we see Thailand, as already mentioned by the Director General, so they have invested in scientific research and development. So at the Chulalongkorn University, they have developed this. And Brunei also hosts this, and they have a premium halal positioning. So, and what are the key sectors like food and beverage? That is basically the biggest share in the whole halal products and halal ecosystem. And afterwards, if we see pharmaceuticals, it's not only pharmaceutical, it's called nutraceuticals. And nowadays, the supplements and food items are also in there. So, and if you see the cosmetics and personal care, so a lot of products are coming. So, the safe product and also the products that are accepted by the not only the Muslim community, but also who are in fact caring about the quality of the cosmetics and hazardous elements presence. So, they are also caring about the in fact cosmetics and personal to be halal products. And modern fashion. So, Bangladesh is regarded as one of the biggest suppliers of the in fact fashion products, the garments products in the international market. But when I discussed with the top leaders of BGME and BKME, they are not actually concerned about this particular issue, I mean the halal products, even though nowadays we are in fact targeting the Middle East countries regarding the customized products, but most of the products are targeted towards the Western market. So that's I think a limitation of the fashion industry and also the R&D. So, and tourism and hospitality. So that's a big, in fact, an expanding, in fact, market. So, and in the tourism, the halal tourism is now getting pronounced. And the hospitality, the whole management, the travel system and PR, so all these are included. So in this particular aspect, the halal food is also a part of the, in fact, tourism and hospitality and PR facility and family friendly and travel services. So that's the important thing. And the logistics and Islamic financing. So Islamic financing includes in fact, the bank, insurance, and also probably the stock market. So whether we have the share in the stock market. So that is very important thing, and Sharia compliance. So now, in fact, if we see the whole ecosystem, so it's from halal level to a complete ecosystem. So it starts with the input. So if we just think that, I mean, a cow or an animal is slaughtered by the name of the Almighty, it's not enough. So we have to have the system of slaughtering and the traceability, like I mean, what in fact ingredients are used to nurture the in fact, cattle. So that's the important thing. Or if you think about the vegetables or the fish, anything, and in the food. So you have to have the supply chain, the cold storage system. So everything has to be included, and definitely the food that the in fact feed. So and nutrients that are used to grow and storage the in fact the food items. So these are all included in the halal food. So and also the production and standards definitely. So it's for example, we have the BSTI, and in each of the countries, so we see that there's a growing establishment of the Department of Halal. For example, India is basically in fact, the second largest supplier of the halal products in the global economy. So even though it's not a Muslim country, but they are targeting the market, the global market, which is in fact growing very fast. So they also have this system of certification. So, and in fact, logistics. So in the trade, so logistics is a very important thing. So, and it includes in fact, the chain, like the cold chain, and also the maintenance, and if there are a lot of things involved in the logistics process, transportation. So all this involved, and financing. Already mentioned, so the banks that has to finance the halal ecosystem. So that's very important, and there should be a kind of interbank understanding. So one in Bangladesh and bank, but in the other countries like the Malaysia, Indonesia, and the ASEAN system. So there should be a kind of network of banks in terms of financing. So and that's very important, and also insurance. So nowadays we see that there are some Islamic kind of insurance, but whether they have the knowledge, awareness, understanding of the insuring the products in the halal ecosystem. So that's very important, and market. So branding is very important. So nowadays, what we brand, so it's not only for Bangladesh, but the other Muslim countries, what they're branding as their products. So that's very important. So if we can strongly brand the halal products through our government missionaries, like the commercial wings of the missions, and also the private sources. So that's giving a kind of signal that we are promoting the halal products. So now, what is the in fact leverage or strength of the ASEAN halal ecosystem? So it has a lot of components like the trade and branding, then governance, because government is the entity which has everything. Like it can implement, it can regulate, it can in fact introduce the law. For regulation, and then standard. Definitely, it's private organizations nowadays have their own in fact maintenance of the standards, but still the government has to have the primary responsibility. So and there might be multiple agencies to in fact maintain the standards, and testing labs. So there's a huge requirement of financing. So the private organizations may not be able to finance in testing, but if the government has that kind of facility, then it could be in fact an important in fact parameter or the signal to the global economy, especially the ASEAN economy. So and then logistics already mentioned, and financing. Talent is very important, because if we nowadays we're producing a lot of graduates. So for marketing, and scientists are also coming, but where are they going? So it's not that that they are all the time going to the in fact halal industry, but we need talent. Talent is not only for in fact innovation in the value addition of the product, but also the marketing, branding, in fact in the whole blockchain system for traceability is very important, and in which we need in fact IT professionals. Okay, now the demographic strength is very important, because if you see the ASEAN countries, in fact Indonesia has a lot of population, so it's more than 150 million population. So and it hosts the halal products. But if we see the other countries, the non-Muslim countries, the Europe, in the USA, even in the USA, you'll see, and after regular interval, there is an in fact halal shop. So and the in fact halal restaurants. So these are in there. But in fact, I think the number is even outpassing the other in fact the restaurants. So that's a big thing, because there is growing awareness among the consumers. Regarding the quality or the in fact the safety of the halal products, the halal food. So the production base is also very important, because in the production, you have to maintain the standard, the safety, the regulations. So all these are important. So and it has a very strong capability in food processing, tourism, fashion, science, and logistics. So and strategic location is very important, because it's the gateway of the East Asia, and also it's connected very well with the other parts of the world. So and policy support is also very important. So if we see the in fact the departments, for example, Jakim in Malaysia, So and they are also in fact promoting the in fact, products through in fact trade fair and others. So and regional cooperation is also very strong. If you see the regional integration, that the degree and of regional integration in ASEAN is very deep. Uh, so and uh, the whole regulatory framework of ASEAN and also the individual countries, they are also promoting and they're creating an enabling environment in the halal product. So and the gateway effect. So if we can enter through Malaysia, so then it's a big leverage. So then we can enter the entire ASEAN economy and probably the Asia Pacific economy, because Asia Pacific is hosting in fact 60% of the products. So and the market size in increasing. Okay, now the governance and standards. So there are clear agencies in the ASEAN halal ecosystem. So and halal policies and accreditation framework. So they're very strong. And food testing, contamination detection, and technical assurance is also in fact is in there. And there are a number of in fact global standard research and laboratories. So and digital platform is also there. The e-commerce, so that which is in fact backbone of the products, and traceability certification system, and market intelligence is also in there. Market intelligence means the in fact the desirability of the in fact and the strength, the economic growth, and also the growth of the halal products, the consumers. So all these are important in terms. And what are the companies like the multinationals who are coming in the ecosystem? So they are all facing. So and industry support is also in there. In fact, the involvement of the SME. So that's very important, because small is beautiful. So if they come together in a small investment and they have a lot of creativity. So and in fact, this ASEAN system, they also in fact host and nurture the SME participation and that the training, export promotion, everything. So and save this in fact storage, handling and transport. So all this about contamination. So through integrated logistic and consumer trust. So that's very important, because the trust is a social capital. So if you trust something, a product or the system, then that is your capital to in fact export the product. And what are the next in fact growth frontiers in ASEAN? So it's the modest fashion and in halal fashion. So and it's growing very fast. And pharma and wellness, and then cosmetics, personal care, tourism, hospitality, digital, halal. That means it's in fact creating a big in fact base among the consumers who actually are the in fact for example the teenager and also the young people who in fact look for the products and services through internet, so in the social media. So and this digital halal is very important tool for them to reach out. So that's very important. And I already mentioned the e-commerce, blockchain, and market intelligence, all are very important and areas of investment. And then in fact Malaysia, so it's very briefly about the market. So it's the US dollar 13 billion. So projected size in the industry by 2030. So and they have strong policy and coordination system and also the standard accreditation, signed traceability. So all these included industry logistics, wide range of logistics systems. So in public and private sector. So finance and global marketing. So they have already established themselves as a global gateway and also the in fact the source country. So Indonesia already mentioned 236 million plus Muslim consumers, and they have food, beverage, modern fashion, halal, pharmaceuticals. All they are hosting, and they are also the producers. So and in fact, now we are thinking and worried about what would happen for our pharmaceutical sector after the legalization. So this ASEAN would be a great opportunity and through the halal medicine. So that could have been in the thought of our policymakers and also the in fact the pharmaceutical industry owners. So and Bangladesh's position, very briefly about Bangladesh's position, it's in fact 851 billion US dollars approximate halal exports, and we have the Muslim majority country. In fact, the size of the halal products could have been bigger, because we have a kind of captive market. If we see in fact Middle East and also other Muslim countries in the OIC, so we could have targeted them in our through our products, including the food and also the fashion. So and we have the 6+ high potential sectors, including the for export diversification. and need for institutional upgradation. For example, already the BSTI and also the Islamic Foundation, they are in fact working very hard in certification and standardization, but still we need more in terms of investment from the public sector and also the cooperation from the private sector, because private sector will do business and make money from exporting, and we already have a good market size, and it's going very fast. So the private sector should come forward to support the government. So what are the products like the food and agro products? We are in fact good producer, like the one of the top in fish production, in the cattle production, and the fruit and vegetables, etc. But the thing is that if we can trace the whole production process, then we may find in fact contamination, etc. Because if we see the feed, so or the in fact other process of production and in fact processing. So we may find, in fact, the hazardous elements. So we need to see, and through testing, so whether these are in fact befitting and can be in fact certified as a halal product. So this is very important in pharmaceuticals. So the value addition, like there are ingredients like in fact the porcine, so and gelatin. So these are in fact forbidden. So if they are used in the pharmaceuticals, then definitely it's not going to be halal. So we have to have in fact, the traceability, and we need to identify the products in the pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals, so whether they can be regarded as a halal in fact pharmaceuticals. And cosmetics, personal care, so there is the investment. So there in fact joint in fact R&D between Bangladeshi companies and the USA nowadays. So now we can see that there are a number of products which have the in fact acceptance in the international market. So in the personal care and cosmetics. So and we can also promote this kind of in fact factories, and so that they can produce the in fact halal personal care and cosmetics. And textile, definitely we need orientation, so that and they can produce the in fact halal R&D. And leather goods is also very important. So and for the opportunity products, halal food and agro processing, this is very important. Halal cosmetics, personal care, and halal pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals. So they can be a good item. And opportunity focus would be the fashion and lifestyle, very important. And definitely we are, the present government is very much interested, and they're in fact focusing on the tourism and services. So whether we can orient this as in fact Muslim friendly and halal tourism. So and that would attract a lot of people across the world, especially from the Muslim countries. So if we can orientate them, because Thailand is working, so they have been establishing a halal kind of tourism, so and services for the Muslim in fact tourists. So and why don't we invest on that? So and then certification. So the two in fact organizations, so BSTI and Islamic Foundation, so they are working, but we think that there is a need for public-private partnership. So and Malaysia definitely a gateway, but in fact if we start working very closely with Malaysian organizations like JAKIM, so and definitely the work has started, but we need to strengthen them. So and Bangladesh Malaysia FTA, so the work is going on. There are preliminary discussions regarding the FTA. But there is a good opportunity like joint business council. So that can be, in fact, there should be cooperation, enhanced cooperation between Bangladesh, in fact, BCCI, in fact, the B2B in fact, meetings should be in there. And there should be, in fact, discussions in the ASEAN dialogue partnerships. And definitely RCEP. So and Bangladesh is in the process of RCEP membership, and that could be an opportunity. And finally, if we see that what would be the roadmap, so for 2026-27, the foundation, so initial discussion, the investment, the policy planning, the organization's development, certification, so everything should be in there. Afterwards, there should be scaling up. In the year 2027-28, and there should be integration. Integration means the deep integration, not only the discussion, not only the just signing the FTA and meeting at the B2B level or G2G level, But I think there's a need for strong and deep integration by the year 2029, 30. And in fact, I was involved in the 5-year strategic, in fact, paper. And in fact, we are always talking about the export diversification, but I mean, this is the opportunity that will give us leverage. So if we can integrate with the ASEAN economy in 2029, 30, so that should be the target. So, and we have the target of growth, in fact, the GDP growth of in fact 8.5% by the year 2031. So I think this will give us a big, in fact, strength or bolster the whole, in fact, export target. Okay, finally, so halal is a quality infrastructure, so that should be, in fact, keep in mind. And ASEAN is both market and in fact learning partner. So that in that way we have to treat them. And definitely Bangladesh has the capability, and but needs coordination within the country, different institutions, public and private, and also coordination between Bangladesh, Malaysia, and between Bangladesh and ASEAN. So that's very much important. And finally, so ASEAN actually demonstrates the halal competitiveness. And if we see the other countries like China, China is number 2 in terms of the halal food, and number 1 is Brazil, India. So they are working very hard, and in fact, even Thailand. So they are in fact targeting the Middle East and also the OIC countries. But where are we? So we have the production base, and so we have a very strong, vibrant business community. So are we targeting that? So that's a question. And definitely we have, in fact, competitive advantage in food, pharma, in fact, cosmetics, textile, tourism, and logistics. So we have to, in fact, nurture them and convert them into the whole halal industry. And Bangladesh Malaysia cooperation, so it's coming as an important area and there might be integration between the two economies, and that is the opportunity. Bangladesh is a big market, 180 million people, and in fact Malaysia is eyeing to Bangladesh for its products. So they want to expand and they want to integrate with us. So that is an opportunity, and then we can in fact target the halal ecosystem in Malaysia. And there should be a phase strategy. Already mentioned 2028 should be the scaling up, and 2029, 2030 should be in the integration phase. So that target should be in there in our mind in the policy making. So with that, I would like to thank everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kobir, for highlighting the strength of ASEAN and also highlighting Bangladesh's current state, prospect, and opportunity. Finally, you shared a question: which institutional reform should be prioritized for Bangladesh? I would like to get the opinion from the House during the open forum. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me have the privilege to invite Dr. A.K.M. Bodrul Hasan, Director in Charge, Halal Certification Bangladesh of Islamic Foundation, for his speech. Thank you.
Distinguished guest, Assalamu alaikum. Keynote speaker described totally the halal ecosystem so nicely, so I will take very short time, only 5 minutes. I am MD Akhtar Hussain from Islamic Foundation, Halal Certification Department. Today I will talk about how Bangladesh can leverage the halal ecosystem in ASEAN region. But now we would like to talk about the halal gateway. The ASEAN region has 680 million people. This is the largest halal consumer market in the world. Malaysia is the gateway to this market, but to enter this market, companies need one thing: halal certification. Certification is the passport. Without it, no product can enter ASEAN supermarkets. Bangladesh already has the key. Here is the good news for Bangladesh. Our national halal certification body, Islamic Foundation, is already now recognized by JAKIM. It is the strength of Bangladesh. It means Bangladeshi product certified by us with directly enter into the Malaysia market. For example, Global Capsule export empty capsule cell to Malaysia. And from Malaysia, we can reach the entire market. Bangladesh has three big advantages. Capacity, we are strong in pharma, frozen food, RMD, and leather. Cost is also lower than other Asian countries, approximately 15% lower cost, production cost in Bangladesh. Trust level, if we think that 90% people of Bangladesh are Muslims, so we have strong trust for halal products. It is the strength of Bangladesh. Our role and the way forward, but there are challenges. Many companies don't know ASEAN standards. This is where we, as a certification body, play three roles. First, training awareness program, certification, and third, we connect Bangladeshi companies with ASEAN buyer with through platform of MIHAS. MIHAS is the international halal trade fair organized by Malaysia. We are also working to build mutual recognition with Saudi Accreditation Center, also with Halal Accreditation Agency Turkey. MOU with Argentina is under processing. And now, 280 number of companies got halal certification from Islamic Foundation. 76 companies have exported more than 600 products. My message is very clear. The infrastructure is already ready. The recognition is there. Now we need to scale up. To conclude, the Asian halal ecosystem is a $3 trillion opportunity. My message to Bangladeshi companies, don't wait. Get certified now. Get ready for ASEAN market. To ASEAN buyers, please look at the Bangladesh. We have capacity, quality, and Jakim recognized certificate. Jakim is the all accepted, all reputed certification through the ASEAN country. So Bangladesh has the opportunity to utilize this. Bangladesh has the opportunity to utilize this. If you get certified from Islamic Foundation, you are certified by Jakim. So your product easily enter into the ASEAN market. It is the great opportunity for Bangladesh. If we can utilize this opportunity, we will be a great supplier of halal product from Bangladesh to ASEAN market. I think that if you utilize the facility certification, Islamic Foundation halal certification, this journey started from 2007. Now we are all recognized throughout the world. Jakim halal certification is so much better certification standard. Bangladesh, a few days ago, the Malaysian Jakim partner also come here. They go our auctioning company. Actually, global capsule. They exported global capsule, empty capsule shell, which is made from bovine bone. It is the great example of Bangladesh. Bangladesh waste product bone. This is converted to a product like gelatin. Thank you very much. I hope that if we go together, we'll be achieved and we'll enter into the ASEAN market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan, for highlighting Islamic Foundation's role and its collaboration with Jakim, letting us know that around 280 companies have already got certificate. 76 companies are exporting, and you have rightly said, along with the keynote speaker, that we need to now scale up and embrace this opportunity. So thank you for your insight. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me invite the last speaker of today's session, SM Abu Said, the Deputy Director, Halal Certification from BSTI. He is responsible for standard verification, regulatory response, and compliance framework from the BSTI side. So, is your Dr. Said.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished guest, respected panelists, ladies and gentlemen, and electronic media. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. I would like to share my view mainly from the perspective of standard halal certification, conformity assessment, and Bangladesh's potential participate in the global halal value chain. Let me begin with a simple point. Halal is no longer only a matter of religious compliance, its integrity become a economic ecosystem. Today, a successful halal ecosystem involves standard certification, laboratory testing, accreditation, traceability, supply chain, logistic, skilled human resource, digital technology, finance, branding, and international market access. I will now give my presentation. Role of BSTA and halal certification activities. History of BSTI. 1946 starting journey of National Standard Body through Indian Standard Institution ISI. And 1956 Central Testing Laboratory come out under Colombo Plan. 1958 Pakistani Standard Institution PSAI established in Pakistan, and 1963 PSI established in Dhaka office Bangladesh Standard Institution at Motiz Hill. After 71, CTL and BDSI are operating activity as distinct entity and Bangladesh, and 1985 CTL and BDSI covers as BSTA under the umbrella of BSTA Ordinance 1985-37 Ordinance. 1995 CTL, BDSI and Agriculture Department of Morocco are merged with BSTI. Right now going. Why halal certification matters? Halal permissible under Islamic principle ensure traceability, hygienic, and integrity. Consumer confidence, international trade, safety and traceability, and regional compliance. Laws and regulation. Bangladesh Standard and Testing Institution Act 2018, 2022, Amendment 2022, and the SRO 97, Weight and Measure Standard Act 2018, and Package Commodity Regulation 2007 and Amendment 2021. Bangladesh Regulation 2022, English version 2025. This is our logo. It's patent design from Ministry of Industries. Background of starting the halal certification scheme. According to Section 6 of Bangladesh Standard and Testing Institution Act 2018 is a responsibility of BSTI develop standard, certified as standard of product, including goods, manufactured item, and food product regarding of whether they are for local use, export, and or import. BSTI adopt international standard of halal from the Codex Alimentarius Commission developing two national standard. Firstly, BDS CSE GL25 and secondly, BDS 1813 General Guideline for Production, Preparation, Handling, and Storage of Halal Food. BSTA and SMIC. BSTA has been a permanent member of the Standard and Metrology Institution of Islamic countries since 2021 and has been paying the prescribed annual membership and contribution regular yearly since 2022. SMIC is the international halal standard body at Turkey. Bangladesh is a permanent member and focal point. Halal standard. BDS YC 1 2021 general requirement for halal food production. BDS YC 2 conformity assessment requirement for bodies providing halal certification for halal certification bodies, and BDS YC 24 it's a general requirement for food additive and other chemical. List of halal standard of BSTI. We are prepared the 19 standard like food pharmaceutical, chemicals, and tourism, etc. BST testing facilities, 22 office and 100 plus laboratory. Bangladesh Accreditation Board ISO IC 17025 accredited. We are established a national halal lab, GCMAS and LCMAS, SPLC, CSE, RT-PCR, porcine derivative, alcohol analysis, chemical and microbiological verification, halal ingredients, and food additives. BST has state-of-the-art laboratory equipment with modern instrument and meet international standard. Recently, BST has established a national halal laboratory, research, transcription, polymer chain, reaction, means RT-PCR machine. যে মেশিন দিয়ে আমরা পোরসাইন ডেরিভেটিভ টেস্ট করি, নন হালাল টেস্ট করি, সেই মেশিন এটা আমাদের। BST laboratory, another 16 laboratory listed here. Audit team, audit team, different product. First, food and processed food product and livestock affairs, cosmetic and pharmaceutical product, processed plant product, and fisheries. Audit team for food and processed food product, member, Department for Islamic Studies, Dhaka University, Institute of Food Nutrition, Dhaka University, FBCCI, Government Alia Madrasa, Sharia expert, chemical testing wing, and Halal CM convener. Different audit team for livestock affairs, audit team for cosmetic and pharmaceutical product, audit team for fisheries, audit team for processed plant product. This is Islamic Sharia expert, enlisted our 100 plus Sharia expert. This is flow chart of halal certification. Step for halal certification, application for certification, stage 1 completion, stage 2 completion, sample test, ensure the absence of halal ingredients or materials, use of production, process and of the halal certification committee, issuance of the halal certification with full support from all members. Halal audit process planted, picture view. Impartial halal certification committee, all members were Director General in chair and 11 members are outer department, ministry, and FBCCI and DCCI, CARE, etc. Halal certification fee yearly. Small industry only 1,000, for medium industry yearly 3,000, and large industry 5,000 as per regulation. There is no fee for submit the application for the halal certification. Sample of halal certification. BST halal certification, smart technology, digital integration, QR code technology. Ongoing step. The enhanced international acceptance, the following activities have been initiated: National Halal Laboratory Expanse activities, significant execution of MURA, MRA with different countries, accreditation for halal certification under process. International cooperation, Pakistan already most high, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, New Zealand drafting, Malaysia, Singapore under communication and drafting. Objective MRA technical cooperation and trade. Signing of in halal trade between Pakistan Halal Authority and Bangladesh Standard Testing Institution BSTI. Home and abroad BSTI Halal Bulletin. Have any question?
Thank you, Mr. Abu Said, for enlightening us with the laws, regulations, and procedures involved in certification, and also highlighting the role of BSTI in inspection, quality control, auditing procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, with the kind consent of our chief guest, I will open the floor for small amount of time because our chief guest has a separate commitment. So as we highlighted, and from the various discussions, it came up that collaboration with Malaysia is very important. So while I open the floor, I would expect the representatives from Bangladesh, Malaysia, Chamber of Commerce and Industries representatives to share their view. I can see the ex-president, Mr. Shahab. So I'll start with you, please, sir.
Thank you.
You can talk sitting, sir.
Okay, no
বসে
problem.
বলেন।
Marine Montri and the distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum. I'm the immediate past president of Malaysian Chamber. Particularly, I'm very proud to mention that last year, August 2nd, we started talking about halal. And we arranged a seminar. And from there, today, 1 year time, I see there are a lot of discussion on the halal. But I'll not go into the details. Only thing I like to mention what I experienced in Malaysia is halal is a complete lifestyle. You talk about dress, you talk about food, pharmaceutical, etc. And the latest development is the following, that they are already identified certain products, I think about 2,300 products from HS code to correspondingly to make it a halal code, so that the customs will identify whether it meets the requirement of halal according to their system. This is already not in place, but they are in the investigation stage. So ultimately, it will come into like a parallel like HS code or halal code, something like that. Indonesia is also working in that respect. This is what is a little bit challenging also in afterwards. But when we have been discussing like pharmaceutical, I think it's a huge challenge because I know more than 9,000 API is there, ingredients is there. To make them halal or test them is very difficult. In Malaysia, only one company, they qualify for halal drugs and nutraceuticals. So they are also working very hard. But one important thing is that what you see in Malaysia, there are a lot of discussion here about Malaysia. They reach this stage after 50 years. And as the keynote speaker mentioned, they have halal board, they have a lot of activities, halal development corporation, they have 5 years plan. And absolutely you are right, presenter already mentioned that by 2030, the market size of import of halal goods and service in Malaysia will be more than 50 billion. So that is what they estimated. I have a lot of figures, but what I identified, which I like to mention here, I think to be successful, we must have a consumer awareness in Bangladesh, because like we are almost everyone here, we go for outside eating like restaurants. Did you ask any time whether it's halal? Are we challenging them? When you go for Chinese or even Sheraton or whatever, we don't know. We are pretending that we are eating halal food. So for that, we need to work more deeply. It's not only certification, it's also awareness. We must know. And for that, I think like what Malaysia introduced 50 years back, they started teaching what is halal, what is a halal lifestyle, what fintech and all this from the school level, from class 5 onward. So I think this is very important for us also to introduce halal as a like hygiene or other subject, social science like that in the school level. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to produce even talents. If you look at, there are many pharmaceutical industries, 253. There are many food industries to implement and how to practice halal. It will be really very challenging. So I think we have to go a long way, but it's good that we started already. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now ask Mr. M.S. Siddiqui to share his views?
Assalamu alaikum. We have two organizations certifying halal in Bangladesh. It's okay, but actually we need a independent regulator or a commission to regulate or fix the standard. Because Islamic Foundation and BSTA have their own standard, which is very confusing. We need a national standard. For this, we need an independent commission to prepare this standardization. Second, these two departments, they are charging very high fee for approval of the logo BSTI halal. And actually, I have spoken to many exporters in Bangladesh. They say it's very high because these two departments is regulator or facilitator. They are not supposed to earn money for the government. It should be look into this issue. And when we talk to the exporters in Bangladesh, they are exporting halal products to various market. Interestingly, the price of halal product from Bangladesh is very low. Halal market is a premium market. There should be a premium price for halal products. But unfortunately, our products are exported at a low price, and we are targeting the Bangladeshi diaspora in Middle East or other countries. So the branding here and the positioning of our product are placing our product, we are really list our product in halal market. So we shall have to look into this very carefully because otherwise we cannot get the premium price. And secondly, interestingly, there are two departments, and also the Western overseas buyers are confused about this standard. And at the same time, whether the certificate of these two departments is approved, they have a lots of agreements, certification or protocol, but it's not sufficient. It should be really consumers in other market, the really halal market should believe, understand, and believe that our halal product is really halal, hygiene, and we are maintaining the standard. We need traceability. Where the source of raw materials, we are maintaining, how we storing, how carrying, transporting, packaging, everything. So in order to make it uh, transparent to the consumers, we need more standardization, more homework to within our market, so that we can really make halal product and overseas consumers believe that a product from Bangladesh is really halal and hygiene. Because we have very good market globally, but the halal products from Muslim countries are much more.
Sir, I think we got your message. Thank you. We invited some other representatives like business community from Indonesia. If there is any representative from Indonesian Chamber of Commerce or Thailand Chamber of Commerce, you may raise hand and share your view. If not, okay. Anyone else who wants to share from the entrepreneur side? From the entrepreneur side, anyone? Okay, sir.
Rahman Rahim. This time, this seminar organized by.
Please identify yourself first.
My name is Ruhul Amin. I'm working as the professor, Department of International Relations, University of Dhaka. This seminar organized by BISS, I see they have taken a very timely topic to the audience, not only to the audience, to the peoples of Bangladesh and to the development trajectory discourses of Bangladesh. I extend my thanks and gratitude to Brother Mahfouz Kabir to present such a wonderful paper. Two things I want to make it clear. The concept of halal is very, very widely misperceived notion in the area of business, because halal means, we think the halal means the items that are being produced by the Muslims and consumed by the Muslims, but that's not the case. The concept halal is meant for the entire human community. So if we target only Muslim or Islam or Muslim countries, that's become the first mistake. So I would like to request all the business communities and government decision makers to think this in broader international dimensions. And the presenters, Mahfouz Kabir has correctly identified the opportunities and challenges. And we have got the potentials for Bangladesh, because Bangladesh not only being Muslim countries, but this is one of the very ambitious countries that is being emerging we are very soon graduating from LDCs to developing countries. And so we have lots of international and global image. And Bangladesh first was started after 1971, freedom fighting, inward-oriented growth industrializations. And that was transformed after 1975 by the hands of President Ziaur Rahman. Bangladesh moved on to the export-oriented growth industries. And I'm so happy that his son, our President Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, has taken the responsibility of diversifying halal industrialization and to find the prospects of halal marketing for the Bangladesh. So Bangladesh has a huge potential markets for halal. And we have among us now Minister Khandakar Abdul Muqtadir from Finance. And so this is a very important platform to take our message to the part of the government. To organize the seminar is the task of the academics, but to make it happen is the task of the government. And not only that, government, we have person from Abu Said Bhai from BSTI, and the certificate that is being given by BSTI, and all the foods that in the name of halal we find in the market, absolute to me, most of the foods are haram. If we look at this drink, water, if we test it in the lab, what we find? If we have the certified, halal certified by Bangladesh government like BSTI, and all the foods if we check in the market like milk, even milk produced by Arung, and milk produced by, what's the government, on government side, Milvita, is not halal. But what is harmful for humans is haram. Absolutely. It doesn't have any, correctly said by Islamic Foundation brother, it's not that it's religious, it has nothing to do with the religion. Because what is haram for me is haram for a non-Muslim. And what is halal for me is also halal for a non-Muslim.
Okay, so I think we
So,
got your
no, I have
yeah.
a few recommendations for Bangladesh government since we have minister
Quickly,
here.
quickly, yeah.
Two things. One is Islamic finance. If we want to go for halal industry, we need huge fund. I have a very appeal and strong request to the government through Minister Muqtadir Bhai that we have huge halal deposit by the retired government officers like university professor, civil servants, and all this money is deposited in haram style based on the riba, and most of the people are very afraid of depositing it and we have no way other than depositing it in like savings, and which is also haram. So this is one fund I can say for minister that if we use this retired money from the government servants in the halal way, like following Islamic finance, and if we use this money for flourishing halal industrialization, I can tell you frankly that Bangladesh can reach to the globe. Again, I extend my thanks to Prime Minister Tariq Rahman and his delegates, Minister Khandukar, to think of this and to save the entire Bangladeshi government servants to accept halal,
Yeah. So,
haram
thank you, sir.
deposit and haram industries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Mr. Ahmed Saifuddin, the Minister Counselor, Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia. Sir, please share your views.
Thank you. Honorable Minister Mr. Khandakar and speakers and Bangladeshi friends, businessmen and chamber of commerce and many participants. I just would like to sort of intervention about this event and appreciate for invitation for this event. First of all, I would like to emphasize about the latest of speaker that mentioning Indonesia is the largest market in ASEAN. That's we can make saying that about 30% of the ASEAN, which our community Muslim around 283 million from 600 million of ASEAN. That's why the Indonesia is largest market, I think, in the world, of course. And then we most of it is a consumer, and Indonesia now is working hard with Malaysia and some ASEAN country and also Brunei Darussalam as well. The three countries in ASEAN that are working hard on this institutionally of halal products. We see, secondly, about we saying that we are importing more from non-Muslim country. That's why we have an event in this month on DH Halal Expo, and appreciation for the Bangladeshi businessmen that participate in this event. Around 22 company come to Jakarta, and they signed some contract with the Indonesian partner, and we hope more of this business to business match, business to business cooperation will more, especially on halal products, and cooperation also in doing of institutionally of halal certificate. As you know that the certificate of halal is not now came to the international system. This is our homework for a Muslim country in OIC as well as DH country that Bangladesh also a partner in this, member in DH. And we hope together with Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh and other DH country working hard in this, we not only consume from non-Muslim country, but between us, we can take each other in balance of trading, in balance of our custom and product from Muslim source, not from non-Muslim source. We would like to not import more from China or from meat from Brazil, but we like maybe in the future, who knows, maybe we could import from Bangladesh meat or some other DH country. Also, as finally, I just would like to mention to you that Indonesia have homework also in a kind of PTA with Bangladesh, and this we supposed to push on this issue more and more about the PTA, so we can do more Bangladesh Indonesia cooperate in business and trading more closely, and hopefully Honorable Minister and other minister from Bangladesh would visit Indonesia soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words for our entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with the open forum, but since our Honorable Chief Guest has a commitment, we will shorten the official part. Now, I would humbly invite the Honorable Chief Guest to deliver his speech. After that, we will have a small formalities. Sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Director General of Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies, Major General ASM Ridwanur Rahman, distinguished keynote speaker Dr. Mahfuz Kubir, Research Director BIISS, respected representatives of the Islamic Foundation and Bangladesh Standards and Testing Institution, distinguished members of the diplomatic community, representatives of the government and private sectors, academia and media. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Good afternoon, not yet, still good morning. আমার প্রিপেয়ার টেক্সটে যাওয়ার আগে দুই চারটা কথা আমি আগে একটু বাংলায় বলে নেই। এখন আমার এক স্পিকার এখানে বলেছিলেন যে বিএসটিআই এবং ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন দুইটা এজেন্সি সার্টিফাই করে এখন হালাল সার্টিফিকেশন দেয়, এবং তার প্রস্তাব হলো একটা ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট একটা সার্টিফাইং এজেন্সি করা। এটা একটা ইন্টারেস্টিং প্রপোজিশন, এটার বিষয়ে চিন্তা করা যেতে পারে। আর এক্সেসিভ চার্জ নেই পার টেস্টে, এটা আমরা চেক করে দেখবো। আপনার কথাটা আমি নোট নিয়েছি, আমরা এটা চেক করে দেখবো, এবং এটা যদি রেলিভেন্ট হয় ইনশাল্লাহ উইল ওয়ার্ক অন ইট। আর আরেকটা বিষয় হচ্ছে, আপনি যাই করেন আপনার তো রপ্তানি করতে হবে। ইদার আপনি ডোমেস্টিক মার্কেটটাকে হালাল মার্কেটে ধীরে ধীরে কনভার্ট করবেন, এবং বাইরের জন্য হালাল মার্কেট খুঁজবেন, মার্কেটটা তৈরি করবেন। তো রপ্তানি করতে হলে আগে রপ্তানি সক্ষমতা দরকার, আর রপ্তানির সক্ষমতা বৃদ্ধির জন্য আপনার দরকার বেশি বেশি বিনিয়োগ, আর সেই বিনিয়োগের জন্য দরকার বিনিয়োগের কাঙ্ক্ষিত পরিবেশ তৈরি করা। সেই কাঙ্ক্ষিত পরিবেশের একটা উপাদান হচ্ছে অর্থ, ফিন্যান্স। আরেকটা উপাদান হচ্ছে যারা বিনিয়োগ করবেন, অর্থ খাটাবেন এখানে, তারা দেখবেন যে অর্থ খাটিয়ে এখানে তিনি নিরুপদ্রবে ব্যবসা করতে পারবেন কিনা, সেই ব্যবসার লাভ করতে পারবেন কিনা, এবং নিরাপদে সেই লভ্যাংশ এবং তার বিনিয়োগকৃত পুঁজি ফেরত নিয়ে যেতে পারবেন কিনা। আর বিনিয়োগের জন্য আরেকটা আবশ্যিক শর্ত জ্বালানি সহজলভ্যতা। তো এই প্রতিটা জিনিস নিয়ে আমরা কাজ করছি, এবং বাংলাদেশ যেন তার এলডিসি গ্রাজুয়েশনের পরে আপনারা তো সবাই জানেন যে এলডিসি গ্রাজুয়েশনটা 3 বছর এক্সটেন্ড করার জন্য গ্রাজুয়েশন আমরা জাতিসংঘের কাছে আবেদন করেছি, এবং সেটা ইতিমধ্যে 2টা ধাপ পার হয়েছে। ইউএনজি এর 81st সেশনে আমরা আশা করছি সেটা চূড়ান্তভাবে অনুমোদিত হবে। কিন্তু 3 বছর পরে গ্রাজুয়েশন করার পরে বাংলাদেশের সেই গ্রাজুয়েশন ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্রিতে সেই গ্রাজুয়েশনটা যেন স্মুথ এবং সিমলেস হয়, সেই জন্য বৈশ্বিক বাজারটার কাছে আমাদের অ্যাক্সেস দরকার, প্রবেশাধিকার দরকার। সেই প্রবেশাধিকারটা নিশ্চিত করার জন্য ইতিমধ্যে আমরা জাপানের সাথে একটা ইকোনমিক পার্টনারশিপ এগ্রিমেন্ট সই করেছি। এই সরকার আসার পরে সাউথ কোরিয়ার সাথে গত কয়েকদিন আগে একটা ইকোনমিক পার্টনারশিপ এগ্রিমেন্ট স্বাক্ষর হয়েছে। As you rightly said that Indonesia is also interested to get into an PTA with Bangladesh. আমরা ইন্দোনেশিয়া, মালয়েশিয়া সাথেও আগামী দিনে এফটিএ তে যাব। এছাড়াও আরো 10-12টা দেশের সাথে আমাদের এফটিএ নেগোসিয়েশন চলমান। ইউরোপিয়ান ইউনিয়নের সাথেও হয়তো মাসখানেক পরে আমাদের আনুষ্ঠানিকভাবে আলোচনাটা শুরু হবে ফ্রি ট্রেড এগ্রিমেন্টের জন্য। তো উদ্দেশ্য একটাই, আমরা বিনিয়োগের কাঙ্ক্ষিত পরিবেশ তৈরি করব, কিন্তু বিনিয়োগের কাঙ্ক্ষিত পরিবেশ তৈরির একটা অন্যতম প্রাথমিক উপজীব্য একটা উপাদান যে যারা বিনিয়োগ করবে তারা দেখবে যে বহির্বিশ্বে বাংলাদেশের একটা প্রবেশাধিকার আছে কিনা, প্রেফারেন্সিয়াল প্রবেশাধিকার আছে কিনা, এবং সেই প্রবেশাধিকার অর্জন করার মাধ্যমটা হলো ফ্রি ট্রেড এগ্রিমেন্ট। আমি আমার প্রিপেয়ার টেক্সটে ফেরত যাই। Assalamu alaikum. It is a great pleasure to join you at this timely seminar on halal ecosystem in the ASEAN region, opportunities for Bangladesh. I sincerely commend BIISS for bringing policymakers, regulators, researchers, and business leaders together to discuss an issue that has direct relevance to the export diversification, industrial competitiveness, and deeper economic engagement with Southeast Asia. The halal economy can no longer be viewed simply as a specialized segment of the food industry. It has developed into a broad economic ecosystem connecting production, standards, certification, finance, logistics, technology, research, marketing, and international trade. This wider perspective is important for Bangladesh because it allows us to see halal not only as a matter of compliance, but also as an opportunity for investment, innovation, and value addition. The global halal economy has expanded significantly over the last 2 decades. As you have rightly mentioned, that it is hovering around 2.6 to 3.2 trillion. Different studies use different definitions and therefore provide different market estimates, but the central message is clear. It is already a multi-trillion-dollar global economy with strong long-term growth prospects. Halal food and beverages remain the largest segment, while pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, personal care, modest fashion, tourism, finance, logistics, and digital services are becoming increasingly important. Halal today must therefore be understood as trust throughout the value chain. It concerns the source of raw materials, production processes, laboratory testing, packaging, warehousing, transportation, financing, traceability, and ultimately consumer confidence. A certificate on a finished product is important, but the integrity of the entire value chain is what increasingly determines access to high-value international markets. Malaysia's experience deserves particular attention. Its strength comes from treating halal as an end-to-end ecosystem supported by certification institutions, industrial infrastructure, research, professional skills, logistics, digital systems, and international marketing. ASEAN experience more broadly shows that halal standards and accreditation are increasingly being treated as instruments of economic policy and trade facilitation, not as isolated certification activities. Ladies and gentlemen, for Bangladesh, this carries a powerful message. We possess many of the basic ingredients required to become a competitive halal production and export base. We have a large domestic sector, consumer market, a substantial agricultural and fisheries sector, an established food processing industry, a globally competitive pharmaceutical sector. As you all know, Bangladesh pharmaceutical industries export to almost 100 countries, and 98% of our domestic consumption is met by our local industries. 98%. We should, however, remember that at the same time, exporters continue to face challenges involving institutional coordination, international recognition, laboratory capacity, skilled manpower, logistics, traceability, and market branding. The task ahead is therefore to transform scattered activities into a coherent national ecosystem. We should, however, remember that cooperation with Malaysia and Indonesia can serve as a strategic gateway, but it is not an automatic regulatory passport to even ASEAN market. Requirements differ among countries. Mutual recognition, accreditation, and destination-specific compliance will therefore remain essential. Bangladesh must combine bilateral cooperation with a broader strategy for international recognition. Allow me to highlight 5 strategic priorities that deserve particular attention as Bangladesh seeks to build a competitive halal ecosystem. First, we must establish a coherent and internationally credible national halal assurance architecture. Second, we must develop the physical and technological infrastructure sectors where we already possess productive strength and a realistic possibility of competing internationally. Fourth, our SMEs, researchers, and young professionals must become active participants in this ecosystem. Fifth, we need stronger economic diplomacy and a recognizable Bangladesh halal brand. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another dimension that we must not overlook. The halal economy should be inclusive. It is not an economy reserved, as you have rightly pointed out, only for Muslim entrepreneurs or Muslim consumers. Successful halal exporters include countries with very different demographic profiles. Their experience shows that scientific standards, credible certification, efficient logistics, and consumer trust can create strong commercial positions. Bangladesh should therefore present its halal proposition internationally through the universal language of quality, safety, ethics, transparency, and reliability. Trade compliance remains the foundation, but commercial credibility will determine global success. The Ministry of Commerce has a particularly important responsibility in connecting domestic reforms with international market access. Standards must ultimately facilitate trade. Certification must secure recognition. Investment must create production capacity, and production capacity must result in competitive exports. This seminar is therefore extremely timely. It gives us an opportunity to learn from ASEAN, identify gaps within our country, and move the discussion from potential to preparedness, from certification to ecosystem, and from domestic capacity to international competitiveness. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your seminal words and highlighting the 5 priority areas for Bangladesh and other directives. I think that will act as a source of inspiration for those starting from the entrepreneurs to the exporters and all. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, that we will continue the open forum, but since we have to give time to honorable chief guest, we will have a small formality now, and after that, allow me 5-7 minutes. Within this time, you can have your leg stretch, and then we will reassemble. So now I will ask the master of the ceremony to proceed with the formal session.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have a small formality to take care of. I would like to request the Director General of BISS to kindly present a crest and memento to our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Khondokar Abdul Muqtadir, MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Ministry of Commerce, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Thank you. May I also request the Director General Bees to kindly present mementos to the distinguished panelists as a token of appreciation. Thank you. May I now request our research directors of BISS to kindly come up on the stage and join us for a group photo with our honorable chief guest, panelist, and session chair.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll, depending on your enthusiasm and endurance, we'll continue for maximum another half an hour. So the floor is open. I would like to hear from you, as the Honorable Chief Guest, the Honorable Minister has mentioned that we need firstly confidence building, both for the internal consumers and more importantly from the external consumers and buyers. This is number one. And secondly, we need to develop skilled manpower, and I would say that trusted infrastructures which will allow us gateway to this market. So with that prelude, the floor is open. Professor Delwar.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And I thank BISS for organizing the seminar on the topic, which I think is very important. To me, actually, two issues are really significant because we are trying to become sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN. So we need to deepen our engagement with ASEAN. So we need to identify right kind of, areas, particularly for economic engagement. I think the halal ecosystem is definitely an important area to engage with ASEAN, particularly as we know. I mean, we have the capacity to export halal foods or halal items or halal. The ecosystem that we know. I mean, we used to have very narrow understanding of halal in the name of halal food, but it is not just food. It is, as we know. I mean, it is a kind of ecosystem where actually we can contribute not only in different areas of production and particularly as we have very advantage in our RMG. So modest fashion is very I think competitive area that we can consider. And second point I think is important, that export diversification, because the very topic halal ecosystem in the ASEAN region. So it means we want to learn from ASEAN on the one hand. On the other hand, basically we want to actually enter in the market, in ASEAN market that I know. I mean, it is about more than $600 billion, and the global market, as keynote presenter Dr. Mahfouz mentioned, that it is going to be about $9 to $10 trillion by 2035. So it's a huge market, and in Bangladesh, I mean, as an academic, I also observe that we have so narrow understanding of our prospects, our potential. So we need to actually look beyond the traditional kind of thinking on trade. So finally, what I wanted to highlight for export diversification or to strengthen our relations with ASEAN or whatever we want, there are different dimensions that have been covered in this seminar so far. Technical aspects have been basically highlighted, policy issues have been highlighted, legal issues have been highlighted. Some kind of religious dimension is there. But what I think, what our chief guest also indicated in the end of his presentation, that the issue of economic diplomacy, it depends. I mean, the market of ASEAN, or for that matter, any region in the world, it depends how we are actually strengthening our bilateral cooperation, and particularly here comes the role of the diplomats, role of diplomacy. So we also need to bring this perspective in discussion. It is not really just technical policy or legal issues. It is also issue of diplomacy, where actually we need to highlight how we can strengthen bilateral cooperation, also our cooperation with the region, to actually create market for our goods, particularly as we are focusing here on the halal ecosystem. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So I can see a lot of fresh bloods, students. I don't know whether young entrepreneurs are there or not. So what we have talked about so far is from the traditional perspective. I want to get some fresh look out of the box thinkings from the young generation. Someone to please take the lead. I'll come to you, sir. But let me first see whether the young generation is ready to share their thoughts and views. You can also speak in Bangla. There is no issue as long as you can communicate.
ধন্যবাদ স্যার, আমার নাম মোহাম্মদ রফিকুল ইসলাম, আমি সিনিয়র অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট সেক্রেটারি ইবিপিতে কর্মরত আছি। তো আমার কোশ্চেন হলো, এই আসিয়ানের যে 11টা দেশ আছে স্যার, তার টোটাল পপুলেশন হচ্ছে 70 কোটি, কিন্তু সর্বোচ্চ জনবহুল যে দেশগুলো আছে তার প্রথম 10টা দেশের জনসংখ্যা আছে 490 কোটি। তা ব্যবসার কিন্তু সফলতা নির্ভর করে, আমরা যদি এক্সপোর্ট করতে চাই, কনজিউমার একটা ফ্যাক্ট। তা আমরা 490 কোটি জনসংখ্যা বাদ দিয়ে আসিয়ানের 70 কোটি জনসংখ্যার উপর কেন গুরুত্ব দিচ্ছি, কি ইভেন ইউরোপিয়ান ইউনিয়ন এবং মিডল ইস্টের যে দেশগুলো আছে সেগুলোকে বাদ দিয়ে? আমার কোশ্চেন এটা স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
The point taken. I think Arkeo, anyone else? No one. Okay, please. First this side and then.
Thank you very much, sir. I am Mohammad Raihan from Dhaka University International Relations Department. Sir, beyond this regulatory certification, we need to build consumer trust. As you know that Bangladesh food sector going through several crises. Few days ago, we have tested our toothpaste and we find some microplastics. So how we build a brand so that the other country can trust on us? We can trust on our own products, so we have to build it very carefully and critically. So other countries in order to make economic diplomacy very bold, we have to focus on our own system first. Then we have to export our brand. Thank you, sir.
Very good point brought out. I think I would look at it from two different and contrasting perspective. One is definitely consumer trust. I think the Honorable Chief Guest also mentioned it. From the House it has come. So we need specific benchmarks for standardization. But I would also like to remind, as we see the current world, sometimes these are also narratives specifically oriented and directed towards different ends. Just give you an example that sometimes it was said consuming more than 1 egg a day is hazardous for health, and now we hear that it can be 4 eggs a day. So because it has something related with the market regarding medications, treatments, we hear one perspective, the other day it is completely opposite perspective. So that has to be taken note, but your point is genuine that we need specific benchmarks. I'm sure the panel will highlight. So there was another hand from that side. Yeah, please.
Sir, I have a specific question about the LDC graduation that our chief guest already mentioned about that. LDC graduation is required for our country. So how this plan will incorporate with the LDC graduation, and is there any specific roadmap for this industry to grow and incorporate with the LDC graduation so that it will sustain in our over the long term? Because we can take the policy that also required to the long term and short term as well. We are taking policy that is working on the short term, but in the long term, maybe it could not work out. So how you will guys incorporate with this situation, and how we will look about that situation? So that's the question from my sir.
Thank you. So I think we have 3 questions. So I will now fall back to the panelists. First the keynote speaker and then the panelists if you have anything in response.
Sir. So regarding the 2 questions, on first on the 70 crore population. So actually, we want to integrate with the ASEAN because of the ecosystem. Because within this, in fact, a regional block, so they have an FTA. They have strong regulation as a whole. I mean, as a block, its organization, so secretariat, and also in the individual countries. For example, Malaysia is the in fact largest regulator in the world in terms of the halal products and the services. So if we want a gateway, so it's not only the ASEAN countries, but also to the world, to the Middle East, OIC countries, and even Europe and the USA, North America. So Malaysia can serve as the gateway. So through certification, through standard, through in fact branding. So that is our in fact target. And beside that, that might be a byproduct of our intent. So that is the consumer market. So Indonesia, so it's a big population, 236 million, and there are other countries who are ready to take the product. So and that is basically the opportunity. And regarding the LDC graduation, already mentioned in my presentation. So it has to be done. So whether this year or in fact 2 or 3 years after, so we have to graduate. And these particular product services, like the halal products, halal food, and in the production of food and packaging and marketing, so everything can be halal. So if we add value in that the production, process, and marketing, so then that would be a kind of leverage for the sustainability of our products and our export to the after the graduation. So that is basically our in fact intent. So we have the flagship project under the Ministry of Commerce. So for in fact export diversification, the market diversification, product diversification. So now our focus is basically the Europe and North America and sometimes Japan, but the East Asia through the halal gateway. So the ASEAN, so that can be one of the strength of survival after the LDC graduation. So that's why I flagged this issue. Thank you.
Anything on the other two questions? One was LDC graduation and how it can be really incorporated in the design. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, please.
My name is Naveen Anjat. I am from Jagannath University. My question is, given the differences in halal certification standard across Asian countries, what should Bangladesh prioritize first? Like harmonize the standard or mutual recognition of certificate or improve its domestic certification authority? Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay.
আমি বাংলায় বলছি, হ্যাঁ। আমরা বলতে চাচ্ছি যে আমাদের যে সার্টিফিকেশনের বিষয়টা আসতেছে, আসলে যতগুলো স্ট্যান্ডার্ড বাংলা এখন পৃথিবীতে আছে, প্রত্যেকটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ডের যেহেতু এটা রিলিজিয়াস ইস্যু হালাল, এটা সবগুলোর মূল ইথিক্যাল বিষয়টা আসতেছে কোরআন এবং হাদিস থেকে। সুতরাং প্রত্যেকটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ডে অন অ্যান অ্যাভারেজ এই জিনিসটাকে ফলো করা হয়, কিন্তু মাযহাব ভিত্তিক কিছু চেঞ্জ আছে হালালের ক্ষেত্রে। যেমন স্কুইড আছে, লবস্টার আছে, কিছু কিছু ক্ষেত্রে ওটাকে ক্র্যাব আছে। ক্র্যাব আমাদের দেশে এখন আমাদের ইসলামিক রিলিজিয়াস এক্সপার্টরা ক্র্যাবকে হালাল বলে মনে করে না, কিন্তু কিছু কিছু দেশ আছে যারা এটাকে হালাল সার্টিফাইড বলে। বাংলাদেশের যত রিলিজিয়াস এক্সপার্ট আছে তাদের অপিনিয়ন হচ্ছে না, আমাদের দেশে এখনো ক্র্যাবকে হালাল হিসেবে দেওয়া হয় না। তারপর আপনাদের মূল বেসিক উৎস হচ্ছে কোরআন এবং হাদিস, সেখান থেকে যেটা আসছে সেটাই হচ্ছে স্ট্যান্ডার্ডে আসছে। স্ট্যান্ডার্ডে কিন্তু আলাদা কোনো কিছু আসে নাই। আর যেটা আছে একটা খাবার হলো হালাল এবং তৈয়ব বলা হয়, অর্থাৎ এটা ইসলামের দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকে এটা পবিত্র এবং একই সাথে এটা স্বাস্থ্যসম্মত। আপনি যদি আমরা কফি খাই, কফিতে যে পরিমাণ ক্যাফেইন আছে সেটা যদি আপনি 250 ml 5 গ্লাস খান, তাহলে দেখা যাবে যে আপনার ক্যাফেইনের জন্য যে নিরাপদ মাত্রা সেটা ছাড়িয়ে যাবে। তখন কিন্তু আমরা সেটাকে আর হালাল বলছি না। অর্থাৎ কোনো একটা ড্রিঙ্কসে আপনি 250 ml খেলেন, তাতে আপনার পার ডে যে পরিমাণ ক্যাফেইন খাওয়ার কথা তার চেয়ে যদি বেশি পরিমাণ থাকে, সেই প্রোডাক্টটাকে কিন্তু আমরা হালাল প্রোডাক্ট হিসেবে সার্টিফাই করি না। অর্থাৎ আমরা বলতে চাচ্ছি যে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড হারমোনাইজেশনের কথা বলাতে অন অ্যান অ্যাভারেজ অল স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আর approximately same. Something variation due to different religious scholar opinion differentiation, like actually madhab type, এর জন্য কিছু ডিফারেন্সিয়েশন আছে। আদারওয়াইজ অল দ্য স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আর হারমোনাইজ, অল দ্য স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আর সেম থিং। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ।
বিএসটি সম্পর্কে কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে কিনা? বিএসটি হালাল সম্পর্কে আমি কথা বলতে চাই। হ্যাভ এনি কোশ্চেন? বাংলায় বললে সমস্যা নাই, বাংলায় বলেন, বাংলায় বলেন।
আমরা দেখেছি যে বাংলাদেশে যে আমরা দেখেছি বাংলাদেশে যে হালাল আমি খাদিজা আক্তার ঈশিতা, ইকোনমিক্স ডিপার্টমেন্ট, জগন্নাথ ইউনিভার্সিটি। আমরা দেখেছি বাংলাদেশে যে হালাল ফুড সার্টিফাইড করা হয় সেটা মূলত বিএসটিআই বা হচ্ছে আমাদের যে ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন এভাবে করা হয়। কিন্তু আমরা দেখি যখন আমাদের কোনো প্রোডাক্ট আমরা এক্সপোর্ট করতে চাই সেটা বাংলাদেশ পেরিয়ে যখন অন্য দেশে যায় তখন সেখানে আবার সেটাকে টেস্ট করা হয় সেটা কি আমাদের হালাল কিনা। তো সেক্ষেত্রে আমরা যে আমাদের দেশে যে টেস্টটা করতেছি বিএসটিআই বা ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশনের ক্ষেত্রে সেটা তো বাহিরে যে আর হচ্ছে আমাদের ক্রেডিবল বা সেখানে আর সেটা বিশ্বাসযোগ্য হয় না। তখন সেই ক্ষেত্রে কি আমাদের এক্সপোর্টের যে কস্টটা সেই কস্টটা বেড়ে যায় না? তার ফলে কি আমাদের এক্সপোর্টের এটা নেগেটিভ ইফেক্ট পড়ে না?
আর কোনো প্রশ্ন? আমি আমি শিশির কুমার সাহা, সহকারী পরিচালক, রপ্তানি উন্নয়ন ব্যুরো থেকে এসেছি। বিএসটিআই এবং ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন আমাদের দুটা হচ্ছে এই হালাল সার্টিফিকেশনের জন্য কর্তৃপক্ষ। আমার প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে যে কোন কোন ধরনের প্রোডাক্ট হচ্ছে বিএসটিআই দিচ্ছে এবং কোন কোন ধরনের প্রোডাক্ট ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন দিচ্ছে, এবং বিএসটিআই যদি দিয়ে থাকে বিএসটিআই কি শুধু ল্যাব টেস্টের মাধ্যমে সেটাকে পরীক্ষা করছে নাকি সেটার সাথে শরিয়া মোতাবেক যে ইসলামিক কোন স্কলার যুক্ত আছে, এবং ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন যেটা দিচ্ছে সেটা কি শুধুমাত্র ইসলামিক স্কলারের পার্সপেক্টিভ থেকে দিচ্ছে নাকি তাদেরও কোনো ল্যাব বা সেই ধরনের কোনো ফ্যাসিলিটিস আছে? এই বিষয়টা একটু জানতে চাচ্ছি।
ভেরি গুড কোশ্চেন। আমি প্রথমে তাহলে
আমি যাই স্যার। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে আমাকে এই সুযোগ করে দেওয়ার জন্য। বিএসটিআই ন্যাশনাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ড বডি। বিএসটিআই আজ থেকে 40 বছর ধরে কাজ করে আসতেছে এবং গভর্নমেন্ট সময় সময় যে পণ্যগুলি বাধ্যতামূলক করে দেয় সেই পণ্যগুলো পরীক্ষা করে সার্টিফিকেট দিয়ে বিক্রয় বিতরণের সুযোগ করে দেয়, আর এইটা না নিলে আইনত অপরাধ। এইখানে বিএসটি দুটো কাজ করে। একটা হলো ম্যান্ডেটরি সার্টিফিকেট দেয়। একজন বলছেন যে পানি দেয়, পানি হালাল না। পানি এটা ম্যান্ডেটরি প্রোডাক্ট, এটা হালাল না। বিএসটি যে হালাল সার্টিফিকেট দেয় এটা ম্যান্ডেটরি না, অপশনাল। আপনি ইচ্ছে করলে নিতে পারবেন, না হলে না নিতে পারবেন। তবে আপনি কেউ নেওয়ার জন্য আমি নিজে মাঠে নেমে উৎসাহিত করি, সার্ভেলেন্সে যাই। আচ্ছা, বিএসটিআই কিভাবে সার্টিফিকেট দেয়? বিএসটিআই হালাল ইকোসিস্টেম আছে, নট ইকোনমিক ইকোসিস্টেম নাই, একটা কমপ্লায়েন্স আছে। বিএসটিআই ওয়াইসিসমিক, অর্গানাইজেশন অফ ইসলামিক কোঅপারেশন, দ্য স্ট্যান্ডার্ড মেট্রোলজি ইনস্টিটিউট অফ ইসলামিক কান্ট্রিজ। 57টা ওয়াইসি দেশ আছে, তার মধ্যে 46টা দেশ এবং 5টা অবজারভার স্টেট মিলে নিয়ে ওয়াইসি স্মিক তৈরি হয়েছে, যেটা ইস্তানবুলে অফিস। আমরা প্রতি বছর এখানে বাংলাদেশ গভর্নমেন্ট 51 হালাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ড বিটিএস ওয়াইসি স্মিক 2 ফর সার্টিফিকেশন বডি। আপনাকে কিভাবে আমি সার্টিফিকেট দেব? ওই স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আপনাকে পড়তে হবে। আপনাকে আমি হয়রানি করতেছি নাকি সঠিকভাবে দিচ্ছি? তারপরে বিডিএস ওয়াইসি স্মিক 3 কনফর্মিটি অ্যাসেসমেন্ট, ওয়াইসি স্মিক 24 অ্যাডিটিভস। 200-300 রকমের অ্যাডিটিভস আছে, সোডিয়াম বেনজয়েট আছে, জিলেটিন আছে, বিভিন্ন আছে যেগুলো হালাল তালিকা করা। ফার্মাসিউটিক্যাল, কসমেটিক, স্লটার হাউস। তারপরে এই যে হেজাবের স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আছে, মডেস্ট ফ্যাশনেও আমরা চলে যাচ্ছি। এই স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অনুযায়ী আমাদের টেকনিক্যাল পার্ট আছে, শরিয়া পার্ট আছে। এখন বলবেন আপনারা শরিয়া পার্ট কোথায় পান? ইসলামিক স্টাডিজ ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির ওইখানে 10 জন আছে, সরকারি আলিয়া মাদ্রাসার প্রায় 20 জন আছে, তামিরুল মিল্লাতের 30 জনের আমি একটা তালিকা দেখালাম। এরকম 100+ আমাদের শরিয়া এক্সপার্ট আছে। এরপরে আপনি আমার প্রেজেন্টেশনে দেখছেন যে অডিট টিম করা আছে। ফার্মাসিউটিক্যালের জন্য ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির প্রফেসর আছে, শরিয়া এক্সপার্ট আছে, ফার্মেসির স্যারেরা যায়। আমাদের এরকম প্রোডাক্ট অডিট টিম আছে, স্টেজ 1 স্টেজ 2 অডিট করে যদি সেখানে কোনো র মেটেরিয়ালসের টেস্ট লাগে তখন সেটা সিলডি না থাকে, এটা 15 সদস্য বিশিষ্ট কমিটি বোর্ড মিটিং এ বসে। সেখানে ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশনের প্রতিনিধি একজন আছে, এফবিসিসি এর প্রতিনিধি আছে, মিনিস্ট্রি অফ কমার্সের প্রতিনিধি আছে, ইপিপি এর সাধারণ সার্জায় পরিচালক আছে, এরকম 15 সদস্য আউটার আছে। তারা চুলচেরা বিশ্লেষণ করে সেখানে হালাল দেওয়া হয়। আচ্ছা, আরেকটা হলো যে টেস্ট। প্রত্যেকটা দেশের, আমার যেরকম বিডিএস, ওয়াইসিস, মিক, হালাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আছে, তেমনি এমএস আছে, স্ট্যান্ডার্ড মালয়েশিয়া আছে, তারপরে থাইল্যান্ড স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আছে, তারপরে ইন্দোনেশিয়া স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আছে। প্রত্যেক দেশেরই ন্যাশনাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আছে। প্রত্যেকটা দেশের ন্যাশনাল স্ট্যান্ডার্ডের সাথে সে করে আপনি প্রোডাক্টটা ইম্পোর্ট করবে, অথবা আপনার দেশের সাথে সে কমপ্লাই করে এক্সপোর্ট করবে। সেক্ষেত্রে তাদের যদি কোনো বাধা বিদেশ থাকে, এই জন্য ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কোঅপারেশন দরকার। আমরা ইতিমধ্যে পাকিস্তানের সাথে এমইউ করছি, ইন্দোনেশিয়া এবং ফিলিপাইন, এরকম প্রায় 10টা দেশের সঙ্গে আমরা জিরো ড্রাফট দিয়ে দিছি, ড্রাফটিং পর্যায়ে আছে। তাহলে এক দেশের পণ্য আর এক দেশে আর বাধা পাবে না। এবং প্রত্যেকটা দেশই, মালয়েশিয়া ওয়াইসি স্মিকের মেম্বার, বাংলাদেশ বিএসটিআই ওয়াইসি স্মিকের মেম্বার, ইন্দোনেশিয়া মেম্বার এবং থাইল্যান্ড ওয়াইসি স্মিকের অবজারভার স্টেট মেম্বার। অলরেডি গত রোববারে জাপানের সঙ্গে আমাদের এমইউ ফাইনালাইজ হয়ে গেছে। পরশুদিন আমাদের সঙ্গে থাইল্যান্ড টিম আসছিল, কাজ করছে এবং ছবি দেখছেন। আমি গত সপ্তাহে হালাল হাফেক্সে থাইল্যান্ডে গিয়ে ওখানে তাদের সঙ্গে ফেলোশিপ করে আসছি। আমার এখানে যে ইন্সপেক্টর, আমার যেখানে এক্সামিনার যে টেস্ট করে, সায়েন্স ইনস্টিটিউশন চুয়াঙ্কো এবং পিএসইউ সংকলা ইউনিভার্সিটি, এই দুটেতে আমরা এখানে ফেলোশিপ পাচ্ছি। আমার অফিসার যাবে, ট্রেন আপ হয়ে আসবে, তারা আসবে, এইভাবে আমরা কাজ করছি। আপনাদের সহযোগিতা চাই। হালালটা, আবারও বলতেছি, হালাল লাইসেন্স অপশনাল, এটা ভলেন্টারি সার্ভিস, ম্যান্ডেটরি না। আপনারা কেন ভয় পাচ্ছেন হালাল লাইসেন্স নিতে আসেন না? মাত্র 1000 টাকা ফি দিয়ে একজন ক্ষুদ্র কুটির শিল্প আমার কাছ থেকে হালাল নিবে। মাত্র 10 থেকে 20,000 টাকা খরচ করে একটা হালাল সার্টিফিকেট তৈরি করতে পারবে। কিভাবে করবে? আমি একটু মহাপরিচালক মহোদয়ের কাছ থেকে সময় চেয়ে নিচ্ছি 2 মিনিট। বিএসটিআই হালাল সার্টিফিকেট নেওয়া আছে বাংলাদেশ ইডিবল অয়েলের, বিএসটিআই সার্টিফিকেট নেওয়া আছে টিকে ফ্লাওয়ার, তীর ফ্লাওয়ার, ময়দা, আটার, এগুলো হালাল সার্টিফিকেট নেওয়া আছে। ইগলু সুগার মূলের বিএসটিআই হালাল সার্টিফিকেট নেওয়া আছে। তাহলে আপনি যদি বাসায় বসে প্রতিদিন ব্রেড, বান রুটি, রুটি তৈরি করতে চান, কেক তৈরি করতে চান, আপনি লাগবে তেল, চিনি, ময়দা, তাই না? এই তিনটেই তো হালাল। এই তিনটে যদি আপনি হালাল নিয়ে নেন, হালাল বাজার থেকে কিনে নিয়ে আসেন, তে আপনি যদি ইসলামিক শরিয়া মোতাবেক যদি আপনি বাসায় তৈরি করে এবং সেখানে বিএসটি হালাল সিল করে বাজারে ছাড়েন, তাহলে কি আপনি হালাল প্রোডাক্ট বিক্রি করতে পারবেন না? কেন আমরা এই হালাল লাইসেন্স নিতে আগ্রহী না? আমাদের কেন অ্যাওয়ারনেস নাই? এসিমিরা কেন আমরা আসছি না? এসিমিদের নিয়ে আমি ট্রেনিং করতেছি, আমি বারবার কসমেটিক, তারপরে এগুলি নিয়ে আমি কাজ করতেছি। মনে করেন আপনি হালাল সাবান তৈরি করবেন, মালয়েশিয়া এবং থাইল্যান্ড থেকে যারা চকবাজারে সাবানের নুডলস আমদানি করে, ওখান থেকে আপনি ওই হালাল কোম্পানি ওয়েবসাইটে দেখে ওইখান থেকে আপনি 100 কেজি সাবানের নুডলস নিয়ে আসেন, কাঠের ডাইস বানান, এর মধ্যে আপনি কিছু পারফিউম, হালাল পারফিউম এবং ফুড কালার দিয়ে দেন, দিয়ে আপনি এটাকে প্রেসার ক্রিয়েট করে, ডাইস করে, স্টিক করে, কেটে কেটে আপনি হালাল সাবান বিক্রি করেন। সর্বোচ্চ 50,000 টাকা আপনার চালান লাগবে। আমরা কেন এই পথে যাচ্ছি না? আমার অনুরোধ, আপনারা চলে আসেন। তাহলে এই হালালটাকে আমরা আগামী সামাজিক আন্দোলনের মাধ্যমে দেশ এবং বিদেশে রপ্তানি করে আমরা সফলতা অর্জন করতে পারবো ইনশাল্লাহ। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আসলে বিএসটিআই এবং ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন দুজনেই যে সার্টিফিকেশন প্রসেসের মাধ্যমে সার্টিফিকেট প্রদান করে, তাদের দুজনেই যার যেখানে যেটার প্রয়োজন সেটা মিট করেই দেওয়া হয়। এই জন্য বিএসটিআই যে সার্টিফিকেট দিচ্ছে সেটা দিয়ে আপনি কাজ করতে পারছেন, ইসলামিক ফাউন্ডেশন দিয়েও সেটা কাজ করতে পারছেন। অর্থাৎ সার্টিফিকেশন প্রসেসের মধ্যে কোনো গ্যাপ নেই। যে সার্টিফিকেট যেখান থেকে নেন না কেন এই সার্টিফিকেট দিয়ে আপনি কাজ করার সুযোগ পাচ্ছেন। এটা হচ্ছে আমাদের কারণ। একটা সার্টিফিকেট দিতে গেলে একটা খাবার শুধু পবিত্র, ঠিক আছে, এটা হালাল, একটা গরু তো হালাল, আপনারা তো সবাই জানেন। বাদী পশু বিশেষ করে লাইভ স্টক ক্ষেত্রে আমরা বলছি গরু জবাই করার ক্ষেত্রে গরুটা তো হালাল, তাতে তো কোনো প্রবলেম নাই, কিন্তু গরু জবাই করার জন্য কিছু নিয়ম আছে, সেই নিয়ম তো ফলো করা। আচ্ছা, একটা গরুকে আমি জবাই করলাম, জবাই করা বললাম যে রক্ত এবং শুকর কমপ্লিটলি হারাম বলা আছে। এখন আপনি যদি ব্লিডিং টাইমটা ঠিক মতো না মানেন, অর্থাৎ আমরা যে একটা গরুর সাইজ অনুযায়ী 7 থেকে 8 মিনিট ব্লিডিং টাইম লাগবে প্রপার ব্লিডিং হওয়ার জন্য, আপনি কি করলেন, ওই যে আমাদের সময় নাই, তাড়াতাড়ি গরুটাকে জবাই করে কাটা ছেঁড়া শুরু করে দিলাম। তো এটা তো আমরা তো নন হালাল অ্যাক্টিভিটি বলি, এটা তো হালাল অ্যাক্টিভিটি হলো না, কারণ কমপ্লিট ব্লিডিং এর জন্য যে টাইমটা সেটা তো দিতে হবে। একটা মুরগিকে আমি জবাই করলাম, আমাদের শুক্রবারে তো মুরগি কিনছি আর জবাই করতেছে আর কাটা শুরু হয়ে গেছে, এটা তো হচ্ছে না। অর্থাৎ একটা মুরগিকে 2 মিনিট কমপক্ষে টাইম দিবেন, 1.5 থেকে 2 মিনিট তার সময় লাগতেছে ব্লিডিং হওয়ার জন্য, সেটা দিতে হবে। ছাগল ভেড়াকে তার ব্লিডিং এর জন্য সময় দিতে হবে। কি জন্য দিতে হবে? কারণ রক্ত বিষয়ে সরাসরি বলা আছে পোরসাইন, বিশেষ করে শুকর এবং রক্ত, এটা কমপ্লিটলি হারাম, কোনো এটা এখানে প্রশ্নের দরকার নাই, এখানে কোনো প্রশ্ন দরকার। এখন আমার যদি ব্লিডিংটা ঠিক মতো না হয় তাহলে তো হবে না। আবার বললো যে এই যে তুমি যে একটা প্রাণীকে জবাই করার ক্ষেত্রে ইসলাম বলছে তুমি এই যে দুর্বল পশুটা, বাকহীন পশুটা, এর বিষয়ে তুমি আল্লাহকে ভয় করো। কি জন্য? তুমি জবাই করার সময় যে ছুরি দিয়ে জবাই করতেছো, এই ছুরিটা আমরা রেজর শেপ শার্প করতে হবে, খুবই ধারালো হতে হবে। আমাদের ম্যাক্সিমাম জায়গায় দেখা যাচ্ছে যে ওই যে ছুরিগুলো থাকে এটা আসলে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড ডেডিকেটেড স্লটারিং নাইফ না। আমাদের সারা বাংলাদেশে এই প্রবলেমটা আছে, অথচ বলা হচ্ছে যে তুমি যে ছুরি দিয়ে জবাই করবা সেই ছুরিটা যাতে খুবই শার্প হয়। আমাদের সারা বাংলাদেশে আপনি যদি ছুরির অবস্থা দেখেন, কারোই জবাইয়ের ক্ষেত্রে ছুরিটা পারফেক্ট বলা যায় না। তো যাই হোক, আমাদের সার্টিফিকেশন প্রসেসের ক্ষেত্রে কোনো গ্যাপ নাই। গ্যাপ হচ্ছে যেটা, সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমরা মনে করি এক একটা দেশ তাদের পণ্য ওই দেশে ঢুকতে গেলে তারা নিজস্ব স্ট্যান্ডার্ড, যেমন আপনি যদি সৌদিতে কোনো পণ্য ঢুকাতে যান, ওরা বলছে যে ওরা বলছে আমাদেরকে জিএসও সার্টিফাইড দিতে হবে, তাইলে আমার পণ্য তোমাকে ঢুকতে পারবো। মানে কিছু কিছু দেশ তাদের নিজস্ব স্ট্যান্ডার্ড ফলো করার জন্য বায়ারদেরকে বলে। আর আমাদের দেশে আমরা যখন এক্সপোর্ট করতে হয় তখন বায়ার কিন্তু বলে দেয়, স্পেসিফিকেশন বলে দেয়, বায়ারের স্পেসিফিকেশন অনুযায়ী কিন্তু সে টেস্ট করতে হবে। সে এমনও বলে দেয় যে ঠিক আছে আমার এই প্রোডাক্টের এই টেস্টটা তুমি থাইল্যান্ড থেকে করবা, এই প্রোডাক্টটা সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে করবা। তা সে যেভাবে বলে সেভাবেই কিন্তু তার রিকোয়ারমেন্ট ফুলফিল করতে হয়, আর না হলে কিন্তু ওই প্রোডাক্টটা আমরা তার কথা যদি না শুনি তাহলে তো সে আমার প্রোডাক্ট নেবে না। সুতরাং তার রিকোয়ারমেন্ট ফুলফিল করা আমাদের দায়িত্ব এবং তাই করেই রপ্তানি করা হয়। থ্যাংক ইউ।
আমি একটু 1 মিনিট সময় চেয়ে নিচ্ছি। উপপরিচালক মহোদয় যেটা বলছে এটা সঠিক, মানে আপনার চাকুটা ঠিক হইতে হবে, ইসলামিক শরিয়া মোতাবেক এটা জবাই হইতে হবে। উনি লাস্টের বাকি অংশটা বলেন নাই, আমি এটা অ্যাড করতেছি। মনে করেন আপনি নামাজ পড়ে সকাল 8টায় কোরবানির গরু জবাই করে দিলেন, এখন অনেকে 20,000 টাকা দিয়ে 2 ঘন্টার মধ্যে কষাই প্রসেস করে মাংস দিয়ে দিল, কিন্তু দেখা গেল যে আমার গরুটা আমি 5,000 টাকা দিয়ে কষাই নিয়ে আসছি, এর চামড়া ছিলে তারপরে আপনার মাংসগুলি কেটে 2টের দিকে বেজে গেল, এরপরে 7 ভাগ করে আবার বালতিত করে বাসায় মাংস নিয়ে আসতে 4টে বেজে গেল। বালতি 2টে মাংস নিয়ে আসলাম, আইনে পলিথিনি প্যাক করে ফ্রিজে রাখলাম, পরে বালতির নিচে যা দেখলাম যে 1 লিটার লাল পানি। এটা হয় কি হয় না বলেন? এটা হয়? এটা হয়। এই মাংস হালাল না। কেন? শরিয়া মোতাবেক জবাই করে মাংস নিয়ে আসলেন, হালাল হয়ে গেল? ওই মাংস তো ফাঙ্গাস ধরে গেছে, এয়ার কোয়ালিটিতে ওখানে মাংসে পানি ছেড়ে দিছে, তারপরে টেম্পারেচার ধরেন 30 অথবা 35-40, 8টায় জবাই করছেন, 4টে মাংস নিয়ে গেছেন ফ্রিজে রাখলেন 5টায়, ওর মধ্যে তো ব্যাকটেরিয়া এসে গেছে। এই মাংস রেখে আবার 2 মাস পরে যখন খাবেন তখন ওই মাংসটা হালকা হলুদ হয়ে যাবে এবং গন্ধ আসবে। ফ্রিজে রাখার পর কেন গন্ধ আসলো? তখন অধিক পরিমাণ ব্যাকটেরিয়া ফরমেশন হয়ে গেছে, গ্রোথ হয়েছে। আমার কথা ঠিক আছে? শুধু শরিয়াই হবে না, সাথে সায়েন্টিফিক টেস্ট এবং টেকনিক্যাল লাগবে, তবেই আপনার হালাল। পানি খাচ্ছেন হেভি মেটাল আছে, পানি খাচ্ছেন মাইক্রো অর্গানিজম আছে, ওই পানি হালাল না? ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ।
Okay, right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your enthusiasm and bringing out few important questions. Before I give my concluding remarks, I would like to share my perspective about the question, why ASEAN market? So I think you have heard that they have a formal structure of accepting halal products or halal economy, embracing to the overall halal ecosystem. This is one part of it. But if you look at the government's diplomatic priorities, we wanted to be the regional dialogue partner of ASEAN, and we want to get engaged with ASEAN more on the economic front. That's why, irrespective of its population size, the ASEAN as a whole is a priority area. It is not only because of the election manifesto or the policy objectives of the present government. It has been there. How long or how far we could really move along that direction positively, that remains a question, but that is one aspect. And I would emphasize, if you have marked my opening remarks, that it is not only the halal products and halal economy. If we embrace and adapt to the halal ecosystem as a whole, starting from standardization to quality control to marketing and logistics of the supply chain resilience, the standard you will attain will be globally accepted in any other market. So ASEAN halal economy market is our initial footstep for the export diversification and getting adapted to the entire global market. Just last thing, if you look at India, the third largest Muslim population, and that third largest Muslim population even do not constitute 10% of its total population. So if I look at it, for those Muslims to get access to halal product is definitely a challenge. So the Honorable Minister highlighted about economic diplomacy, overall diplomacy. So those should be specific areas where we have to give emphasis. Having that trade relation with India, that the halal products that your Muslim population wants, we should be the first provider to it. If you talk about economic diplomacy, we mentioned, I think it has come from the House, that BSTI and Islamic Foundation is providing certificate for my local consumers. I'm not going into the debate of its acceptance, confidence, or trust of the consumer. But when it is a question about importing it, again we need a second tier of certification, testing, and other things. So economic diplomacy is that we have to have mutual agreement with those countries' priority markets. As he mentioned, that it has to be tested from Singapore or Thailand. So our economic diplomacy should be to come to a term that you tell me that what Thailand testing organization is giving you, I will ensure that I have the similar standard here, and then you will allow me not to send it for testing there, you will accept it here. So that should be the kind of focus of economic diplomacy or overall diplomacy. The Minister Councillor rightly mentioned that Indonesia, when you go in terms of population size, that's the highest Muslim country, population country. So that's a great market. When we talk about economic diplomacy, did we, I don't know, I think the Minister of Commerce can tell that when we attend the trade fairs, how do we represent ourselves? Both in terms of assuring that we have halal products, and also, I think, advertising that how we maintain the standardization for the greater global consumer community. So those things should be highlighted, not only that I have produced a pen, it looks good and things like that. you have to, in your advertisement, marketing, branding, tell its benefits and how it meets the international standard. So we have lot of things to look at and improve upon. And I would say that don't consider this seminar to be a standalone system. It's only because the country is moving in a different direction and we need inputs from all possible stakeholders. So feel free to get in touch with my scholars, the people who are working on this. Share your ideas and thoughts. We will consolidate it and put it in the form of policy recommendation to the government. And I want stakeholders from all strata to support us in this initiative. And before I conclude, I must mention that halal ecosystem or economy is not a cup of tea of this per se. But since it's a priority area and the government wants some move along that, so we just facilitate with this platform. So once again, I thank you for first being here with us, and secondly, for those who actively participated and contributed. Lastly, I must thank the keynote speaker and both the panelists for their valued contribution. With that, I would like to end here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of today's program. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you for your valuable presence and contribution. We now invite all of you to join us for lunch.